At D23 this past weekend, the Walt Disney Company debuted new stuff for Star Wars and Indiana Jones. But should you be jonesing for that kind of stuff? Today, we've got Lauren Connor to tell you what's really going on, what's the story, and what's up. Has Lucasfilm hit gold? Or have they been so bold to fail again? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's a pleasure as ever, and it's a double dose of Lauren. Lauren is back with us again today. Lauren, how are you since this morning?
Well, we'll see. You know, we're going to be talking about a couple of things. One I'm less excited about, one I'm more excited about. So I get bad news and I got good news.
Yeah, you know, it's a double dose. Hey, folks, take a sip and click that like button if you don't mind. I'm going to need a sip of this stuff, Lauren, because I'm getting a headache from all this stuff from Disney. I don't know what they're thinking, but Lauren, you and I talked this morning. I hope people go click on the video about Disney re-wokeifying. Before we dive in to Star Wars and Indy, is it your sense that these announcements are also woke in any way?
Not enough information to tell on the Indy attraction. On the Ahsoka front, I can't say that I saw anything directly in the trailer, but let's say I wasn't extremely happy with what they did with Ahsoka Season 1, and it would surprise me if they deviated from that too much. So
there's Kid Ahsoka with her little green lightsaber. Let's see. We got adult Ahsoka, and there is a ton of Hayden Christensen in this. We got the former cast and characters that nobody cares about. We got our giant helmets. That's good. Lightsaber bow arrow, Lauren.
That is a Night Sister bow. That is something that has existed in canon before. That's not something that bothers me too much.
But it looks stupid. I'm just saying.
There are far more egregious problems in here.
Okay, I'm moving quickly. We got a droid. We got Kid Ahsoka again. Where is Hayden Christensen at? He's in it. There we go. All right, let's talk about that first. So we've done this before, Lauren. We've previewed this. We knew this was going to happen. We were probably one of the first channels out there to talk about this. It is all about Anakin from here on out. That seems to be the way they think they can get viewers. Walk us through the trailer, what you saw, Anakin, everything.
Okay, so since we're starting with Anakin, I would say that I think focusing on him is wise because there's been a reevaluation of Hayden and his performance in the prequels. He is very popular, and one of the positives that I'll say is it looks to me like they've got the de-aging even better. He actually does look like young Anakin here, and I think that looks pretty good. The negative that I'm going to put forward with it is that he has a line something to the effect of, "I'm always walking with you, Ahsoka," and that is not his proper place. He should be with his son, Luke, not with his former apprentice who walked away from the Jedi Order. So that's a problem that I have with that.
There's another problem, Lauren, that I'm hearing on the internet, but you tell me if they're wrong, because you are the guy who would know.
They are wrong. I already know what you're going to say, and I corrected you in a Twitter thread about this last night, but I don't think you've probably seen it yet.
Rebel Alliance, Lauren.
That is actually correct and in keeping with Thrawn. This is something that he does to trivialize the New Republic. He never calls them the New Republic. It is a way to delegitimize the government and to make them out to be illegitimate. That is completely in keeping with Thrawn, so this is an invalid complaint.
Okay, but what are real complaints then? What do you have? You don't seem excited about this even if you think that part is okay.
Well, it depends on what we're talking about. This trailer was a real mixed bag for me in a lot of ways. I will start by saying it looks way better to me than Ahsoka Season 1 did. For one, it looks like they have a bigger budget. The sets and the effects look better and more convincing. The fight scenes look better and more convincing. And the thing I was most excited about is that somebody remembered that in the series called Star Wars that you probably should have some wars in the stars. I was so happy to see space battles. But this, if you can back this up just a little bit, we'll get to my first very angry complaint. And
Young Ahsoka or back for more?
Right here.
Raccoon eyes. Go for it.
This is the stupidest lightsaber design I have ever seen, and whoever decided they were going to do this should be fired immediately.
It's a long lightsaber.
It's a lightsaber that has a lightsaber blade going between the hilts. How does that work? How does that work? That doesn't work. But there's another side thing that people are talking about.
It's like a Wii controller.
There's a second thing that people are talking about this scene that, depending on whether it's true and how it's handled, may be a good thing, may be a bad thing. You called this guy, nope, go back to him.
I'm working on it. I had to get the better picture. This is the better one.
You called this guy Raccoon Eyes.
I feel badly about that now.
But he actually looks like somebody who is from the old Disney EU, which is a Sith Lord called Exar-Kun.
Wait. The old Disney EU?
The old Lucas EU.
Okay. You had me confused there for a minute. I thought Disney doesn't have any old EU. Okay.
This was a character that was introduced in the Kevin J. Anderson trilogy, the Jedi Academy trilogy, and he is an ancient Sith Lord. Now, it's possible that this is not the guy, but he sure looks like him. And one thing that I would point out about Exar-Kun is that it was actually the introduction of the first double-bladed lightsaber in Star Wars storytelling. But that got picked up by Maul in the prequels when Lucas did them. So that may be the reason for this stupid lightsaber design, is they wanted to give him something that was unique that wasn't the double-bladed lightsaber that Lucas already stole.
So we got an ancient Sith guy. What's the significance of putting him in there then? Because they obviously want people like you to know this and talk about it in the trailer. So what are they trying to drive us towards?
This is pure speculation, and it's based on assuming this guy is Exar-Kun. What Anakin is doing here when he's talking to Ahsoka is he's telling her that this is her test, that she has to decide, is she going to be a Jedi or not? And Ahsoka has been insisting for quite some time that she walked away from the Order and she's not a Jedi. This is a flashback sequence. It looks like it is in the world between worlds. It's Anakin teaching her as the young kid again. Exar-Kun was one of the first Jedi who walked away from the Order. And my guess would be that he's making the point that you may think you can walk away from the Order, but this is the results of what happens when you do that, and this is the path you could potentially be on. So
this is such a strange thing for Anakin to be doing in this particular timeline. Don't you think, like, instead of being with Luke, you talked about this before, this seems strange that we're doing the world between worlds and Anakin is with baby Ahsoka and we're fighting ancient Sith Lords instead of being like, hey, Luke, I'm a ghost now. Let me tell you how we're going to do this new order if you'll have me help you.
This is why ultimately, even if there are improvements in this trailer to Ahsoka Season 1, it is ultimately doomed to failure because Thrawn doesn't fight the B team. He fights the A team. That is Luke and Han and Leia and Lando. And it's never going to work. Setting up Ahsoka to be the primary protagonist here against Thrawn. By the way, there's another major problem that I have with this trailer, and that is when Thrawn announces himself to the galaxy. Now, the way this is cut in the trailer is it appears to be him announcing himself to the galaxy at large, but what he says is citizens of the Empire. And so it's possible that he is only announcing himself to the Imperial Remnant and to the Shadow Council. But I would argue Thrawn would never do that. He would never make an open transmission like that because that could be heard. And at this point in the story, it's unlikely that he has gathered his fleets or resources to be able to stand against the New Republic yet. Now, there are other scenes in this trailer, you passed by a couple of them, that look like they are adaptations taken from the old Thrawn trilogy. There are some ships that attach to New Republic ships and cut their way in. Those are analogous to the mole miners from the Thrawn trilogy. So there are pieces that they're taking from the old stories, but they're repurposing them in different ways.
And as you said, without the A-list characters, this is just not going to work.
That's my contention, yes. It's like it doesn't matter how well it's improved. You're minimizing Thrawn by throwing him against this B team of characters. And additionally, they've got the look of Thrawn right. They've always had the look of Thrawn right. I like Lars in his performance in the sense that he's got a great voice, and with the makeup and everything, he looks the part generally. But they haven't got Thrawn's intellect. That making the transmission in the open thing is a big problem for me because Thrawn would never do that. He is not that dumb. I would also say it looks to me like they've got the Night Sisters as being his army that he's going to use against the Republic instead of clones. The Night Sisters will also stand in for Master Sabaoth from the old novels. they just don't work. It's such a step down from Master Sabaoth and a second round of Clone Wars.
But they love witches. He loves witches.
It's just going to be an inferior product. No matter how much they've improved, it will never stand up to what we actually wanted to see.
Yeah, and the ratings for season 1, not good. I'd imagine it'll be worse for season 2. And then they got to, I don't think, based on the trailer alone, it doesn't look to me like they're wrapping this story up in season 2. So I think we're going to end on a cliffhanger and never answer it.
Depends on whether they think that they've got enough juice to do a final movie of some kind. I don't know. But
throw Mando in and try, yeah.
I will say, like I said, this trailer looks to me much better than anything that we got in season 1, but that's damning with faint praise. It's still destined to fail because it's not the story we want. Okay,
so Lauren, let's switch to Indy then, okay? We'll get Harrison Ford at D23. We'll get this announcement first, and then I'll get your thoughts on it. Ready?
Yep.
Hello, D23. Thanks for coming along on all of Indy's adventures. Soon it'll be time for his next ride, and I'm pleased to share that for the first time ever, I'm the actual model of the Indiana Jones animatronic, fear of snakes included. I'm excited for you to see his next epic adventure, and I'm coming to Walt Disney World soon.
All right, so Lauren, they're basing this new ride at Disney World on older Harrison Ford. The animatronic is going to be looking like an older 55 to 60-year-old Harrison Ford is what we're hearing. Yes. It is just before the Crystal Skull. Walk us through this jade, what is it, jade serpent?
The myth of the Jade Serpent, correct. You're going to be going into the Mayan underworld here, and they have started construction on the temple. I'm kind of curious. They say they're going to model it on Harrison. I know that the model of the other Indiana Jones attraction really didn't look like him. I'm a little nervous about them basing it on him in this case because Harrison is the age that he is. I've seen some of the CGI renderings of their work on the model, and they are trying to model him younger. The real question I have is he going to be recording dialogue? Because his voice sounds so much different now, even than it did in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He just sounds so old now. So I'm curious about that. But
he's and we don't like to focus on this, but even in the video, he's slurring a little bit, and you know.
Yeah, and not taking anything away from Harrison here. That's just what happens with aging, but that's not really the way that we want to see Indy. What I will say I'm encouraged by is what I've seen of the concept art. There's not a lot that's been released, but there's been a couple pieces of concept art that to me look pretty good. There's been some models of the temple as well as the Jade Serpent that they're talking about. I'm excited about going into the Mayan underworld. They've actually done that with some other indie stories in the past, although in a slightly different way. So I'm tentatively excited about this. This is actually, when this gets going, I actually want to go down there and ride this ride because that's something that I am actually excited about.
Let's make that happen. Lauren, so for this ride though, do you think it's a mistake to do an older Indy? Should they have done 35-year-old Indy, Temple of Doom, 30-year-old Indy? Like what should they have done here?
It's impossible to say. I think my preference would be younger Indian around the time of the 30s or 40s, but it depends on how much weight you're putting on having an authentic looking indie animatronic and whether or not they're using Harrison's voice, So I think it depends on how much weight you put on those things as opposed to the era that the story is told in. I think if you tell a story that is authentically indie and it looks right and it sounds right, it won't matter what the age he is supposed to be is, as long as you have fun on the ride. That's my take.
Yeah.
So tentatively excited. And one thing that I would add in as well to that I think is interesting. 2024, I think, December, they released Indiana Jones and the Great Circle as a computer game. They have announced a new comic series that is Indiana Jones and the Sword of Pandemonium that's coming out in December. They have announced that they are releasing in a deluxe edition the collected Indiana Jones Marvel comic books in a deluxe leatherette 2-book set. I think in September. it seems to me they have more confidence in Indiana Jones than they do in Star Wars. They're actually they're putting some money behind it, and it seems they still think there's some life in the franchise. So
that's so funny. That is amazing, because you're right. Crystal Skull broke $1 billion, and even the most recent one, Lauren, jog my memory.
Dial of Destiny.
Dial of Destiny did better than Mando.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, I would think that
they're both failures, but
Dial of Destiny to me put the nail in Indiana Jones. To me, it is abysmal. It is way worse to me than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It destroys the.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And I would have thought Indy is done after this. Great Circle changed my mind. Now that's a computer game, but it was an authentic to me. That's an authentic indie story.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you about that then. So you move indie out of Lucasfilm, right? This is Imagineers working on it. And Imagineers they don't have a great record right now at all, like terrible. But it's not Lucasfilm. You give it in the hands of game developers. Maybe the answer here for Star Wars and indie is just get it out of Lucasfilm.
I think that there's something telling them that they potentially still have some life in this franchise. And that's exciting to me, because I would have thought after Dial of Destiny it was completely done. I think the reaction to Great Circle actually changed their minds, because it was critically acclaimed. Generally speaking, the audience really liked it. There are some quibbles with the game. I've got a couple of quibbles with it myself, but I would be eager for a sequel. Now, I know that Bethesda and Machine Games right now are working on other things, so I don't think that we're going to get a sequel anytime soon, if we get one at all. But that game was from a concept by Todd Howard, and I would say, you know what? Give me another one, because I hold Great Circle up to be within the movie continuity. That's how good I like it. So I think that may have changed somebody's mind at Disney and said, you know what? Maybe let's not abandon this yet.
Yeah. And folks, don't be shocked if Disneyland also gets updated models that are representative of Harrison Ford. I think that's on the way too. All right, folks, it's your turn. Click the like button, share, subscribe, but drop a comment. We really do want to know. What are your thoughts on Ahsoka Season 2 and Indy? And if you had to say one or the other, which one might you be more excited about? I have a feeling you're going to mirror Lorne, but surprises are coveted indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. We're getting out of here. We got 2 more videos today, live show tonight. We'll see you real soon. Keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.